Good morning, my all dear class 12th A students. As we have discussed in the previous videos of this chapter, accounting ratios or ratio analysis, we have discussed the meaning and advantages of the ratios, and now we will classify the ratio. We will know the classification of ratios. Ratios may be classified into four categories. There are four categories of ratios. Number one, liquidity ratio. Number two, solvency ratio. Number three, activity or turnover ratio, and number four is profitability ratio. In it, we can get the net profit ratio, gross profit ratio, etc. So, first of all, liquidity ratio. Liquidity refers to the ability of the firm to meet its current liabilities. Liquidity means the ability of a firm to meet its current liabilities. The liquidity ratios, therefore, are called the liquidity ratio therefore are also called short term solvency ratio. Short term solvency ratio. These ratios are used to assess the short term financial position of the concern. They indicate the firm's ability to meet its current obligation out of current resources. In the words of Solomon J. Flink, liquidity is the ability of the firm to meet its current obligation of as they fall due. Means, let me tell you in my words that liquidity means the ability of a company to repay its short-term loans or short-term liabilities, means current liabilities. Suppose you have borrowed 1000 rupees from your friend, and next day your friend asked his money back. At that time, in your pocket you have only 500 rupees. It means your liquidity is zero point 0.5. Your liquidity ratio is 0.5, means you can pay back your liability half. But if you have 2000 rupees in your pocket, and you have to pay, means your friend has asked the money back and you have to pay him only 1000, it means your liquidity is two times more than your current liabilities. So the liquidity ratio shows the current financial condition of the organization. There are two types of liquidity ratio: current ratio and quick ratio. Current ratio and quick ratio. Now it comes to solvency ratio. Solvency, these ratios are calculated to assess the ability of the firm to meet its long term liabilities. Same as the previous, liquidity ratio means solvency of short term, and liquidity ratio means ability to meet the current liabilities of short term means or short term liabilities, but solvency ratio is to meet the long term liabilities, to pay back the long term liability, ability to pay the long term liability. In solvency ratio, we will know debt equity ratio, total asset ratio, means total asset to death ratio, okay, and prosperity ratio and interest coverage ratio. Third one is activity ratio. These ratios are calculated on the basis of cost of revenue from operation or revenue from operation. Therefore, these ratios are called as turnover ratio. Activity ratio is also called as turnover ratio. Turnover indicates the speed or number of times the capital employed has been rotated in the process of doing business. Means the sales, it's basically on the depends on sales, the how much sales increase or decrease in the period. In it, we have to learn inventory turnover ratio, debtors or receivable turnover ratio, credit payable ratio, or working capital ratio. At last, there is profitability ratio. Profitability ratio means in it we can note that how our firm is getting profit or loss. Gross profit ratio, operating profit ratio, operating ratio, operating profit ratio, net profit ratio, return or on investment, or ROI. So these was the classification of ratios. This was the classification of ratios. The complete chapter is based on the formulas. This complete chapter is based on the formulas. You have to learn all the formulas on all the rules, so that after that you can do the chapters, do the questions easily. But if you are not going to learn all the formulas, you will not know, you will not solve the questions of this chapter. Okay, in the next video we will show you some formulas, and after that we will do some practical problem. And till then you have to go through to this chapter, and if you find any doubt or any difficulties, you can ask. Our school is always there to help you out in all your need. Till then, bye bye students, we'll meet you in the next video.